Hey, what's up? This is Brandon Simmons from BrandonSimmons.biz, and this is my weekly video blog called Bullheaded, a review of the Houston Texans news, as well as a preview of the upcoming game matchups. So, this week, the Texans will be at home for their home finale, regular season finale, all that, to take on the Indianapolis Colts for a chance to win the AFC South. A very slim chance, but a very real chance. So, I'll get into all that on what they need to do. To get that going, as well as what they got going on right now in their current playoff situation. Right now, I want to do a quick little game recap from the Chargers game last year, last week, week 17. Uh, so yeah, Texans beat the Chargers. Uh, Texans beat the Chargers 20-16 on the road to officially clinch a playoff spot. Um, Couple things that I took away from that game actually. Um, Number one, Texans had a strong start offensively, defensively as well. Um, but they had a strong start on both sides of the ball, but the finish was kind of lackluster as well. So with the offense, CJ Stroud, he had two. He threw two touchdowns early on in the first quarter, back to back. One to Jaden Higgins, one to Jalen Noel. Get out to a 14-0 lead. But after that, things just kind of really slowed down for the offense. Just a bunch of field goals. Had a field goal in the third quarter by Fairbairn, and a field goal in the fourth quarter as well. And it's yeah, field goal in the fourth quarter as well. And so really, it was just kind of all about it's it's one of those games where they were getting some movement down the field, but just not able to capitalize on the opportunities, not able to get into the red zone or capitalize off red zone opportunities. Kind of the story that's been lingering on throughout the entire season. Defensively, same thing. Obviously, they posted a shutout and held the Chargers team to 3 points. In the posted a shutout in the first quarter, held the team to 3 points overall in the second half. Excuse me, in the first half. Second half, that's when things just got a little bit out of control. They gave up, 13. Yeah, they gave up 13 points in this in the second half overall throughout the game since posting that since posting that 14-0 lead in the first jumping to that 14-0 lead in the fourth quarter. The Texans were outscored 16-6 throughout this entire game. And so one of the things that was kind of common about this not gonna say collapse, but kind of what killed the Chargers in this game were penalties. So on the third quarter field goal, the Texans had a holding penalty called on Nico Collins. Defensively, things were a little bit worse. There were like three separate penalties that actually negated sacks, that took away sacks. And so, those sacks, they can add up, what I'm saying, get the Chargers off the field, reduce their chances of scoring and all that stuff. But that wasn't the case in this particular instance. And on my Facebook page, I posted kind of my grief with the officiating in this game. It just just felt all like out of place, and I ain't trying to start no sports gambling conspiracies. Nothing. It's too early for that this year at this time of year. But yeah, it just felt like it was just all over the place, inconsistent. I think there was one play. Probably there was a play where Jalen Petrie got called for an illegal contact, and I don't know if it was a play before or play after. It might have been a play before. Um, but yeah, on the play before that, I think Jalen Noel was going for a pass, and the defender looked like he was kind of holding him back a little bit. And so when I saw that they called that on Petrie, yeah, I was like, that's kind of similar to what you missed on, one of our other players. You know what I'm saying? So it just didn't look all the way consistent with me. And later on in the game, later on in the game, as things were kind of winding down, I could see the refs kind of calling certain calls, for us, and it kind of gave me the sense that these were like makeup calls for something that they overlooked and all that other stuff. So I mean, makeup calls, I mean, they're cool, I guess. That's part of their job. Might be part of the job that they have to do. It's not the first time I've ever seen it, what I'm saying, in the game, but I think I just think it's when it's with your team, you're a little bit more invested, so you're a little bit more agitated by it, which is the case here. I just felt like you should have called it right the first time and just called it right across the board because it was happening across the board. You know what I'm saying? Just make it fair and we'll just deal with it then. So, but to wrap up the game recap, despite how I may feel about those penalties, they did take away some big plays. They did take away sacks. I think there was a PI on Shair, um, and that was like when they were in the end zone. So that could have, held the Chargers back to a field goal, but instead they got a touchdown off of that after that penalty. So um, Texans, did a good job jumping out early lead and um, building up enough of a cushion to just kind of hold the Chargers back from completing a crazy comeback. So big ups to the Texans on that win. Big ups on the Texans for clinching a playoff spot with that win. And so as it stands right now, with the playoff scenarios, the Texans are sitting at the fifth seed. Right, they have the highest. They have the highest non-division wild card spot as it stands over the Chargers and the Bills. Uh, the so yeah, at the fifth seed. If the playoffs were to end today, they would draw the Steelers in that matchup. Uh, they would have to go on the road to take on the Steelers. Um, However, should the way it's set up right now, they still have a chance to win the AFC South this weekend. And so the chances for winning the AFC South is pretty much this. They win and the Jaguars lose, they got the AFC South. If they lose, then they can forget about it. I don't even think a tiebreaker would matter at that point. And so it would definitely it would definitely be beneficial, obviously, if they won and, what I'm saying, really just kind of keep the pressure on Jacksonville, who's actually going to be playing at the same time as us this weekend. So that'll be really interesting. Um, I would I would prefer a division crown. We win the AFC South. We'll get a home playoff game next weekend, as opposed to staying in the fifth seed and drawing a matchup with either the Steelers or looks like could be the Steelers or the Ravens at this point. But to me, with the Texans, with these out, with to me, it's like this: the Texans against the Steelers on paper, just going off what it looks like right now. Um, I like that matchup for the Texans. I think they have a way better defense. Um, Offense is coming along. It can be competitive as well. The only thing that's going to be a real caveat about this is that, yeah, the Texans can go on the road, face a Steelers team that they're clearly better than on paper, but when you get into that playoff environment, when you get into that outdoor atmosphere in those conditions, is basically when you get into that ugly playoff weather. I don't know if the Texans' offense is built for that, so to speak. Particularly, what you really need to survive in those conditions is a run game, and the Texans don't really have a consistent run game like that. Woody Marks, he's been great. You know what I'm saying? He's been decent. You know what I'm saying? He's been rushing for like 71 yards or whatever, 60 to 71 yards these past few games and throughout the year. Um, but for games like these ugly playoff weather games, you need a running back that's gonna get you 100. You know, you need a Jawad Jordan. He got us 100. We really haven't seen him in much use since. But um, Woody Marks really comes on at the end of games. Throughout the games, it's kind of so-so, kind of spotty, and I think most of that is due to the game plan. I think is really gearing towards CJ just what I'm saying, kind of throwing the ball, getting the ball downfield um, to Nico and whoever else. You know what I'm saying? So the running game becomes an afterthought, but um, if we truly devise like a game plan, for the run, that'll be beneficial to us if we, face the Steelers at home. Same thing with Baltimore. That's also going to be an outdoor game. That's going to be, cold weather playoff type atmosphere. So you want to make sure you have a run game suited up. You know what I'm saying, to combat that defense because yeah, Baltimore defense ain't been the greatest this year. And despite that, they still kind of went on a little run the last couple months or so, and that's why they're in the position they are now to possibly win their division and get in the playoffs. But uh, that's not where I was going. Okay, it's all over the place. But anyway, so um, yeah, so obviously the better choice here, or the most obvious logical choice, would be for the Texans to actually go in and win this game and nab a division crown, as opposed to just mailing it in and resting on the fifth seed. So, uh, moving on. Injury report. Um, didn't see too much on the injury report that was alarming. I think they said a Jamal Calf and Kamari Lassiter both had DMPs for Thursday. Um, so, well, I just kind of, what I'm saying, I really just kind of monitor that a little bit. I don't think it's too big of a deal. I think Lassiter should be fine. I think Cap should be fine as well. But, what I'm saying, we'll see when it gets there. Um, one thing I did notice, if I can pull up one I can actually read. Yeah. Anyway, one thing I did notice on there was Derek Stingley. He was listed as like a limited or full participant um, for his oblique injury, and so that oblique injury that's been popping up a lot for him during the games, and so even though he's like leaving the game, he comes right back in. And so I think, in fact, I think this last game it popped up for him as well after he tried to hit Justin Herbert on that scramble. And so to me, I think that's something to kind of be monitored for, um, especially coming up this week because the Texans they have this game, and once it's over next week they right back to it. So gonna with Lassiter kind of having his DMP right now listed from his Thursday practice. I'm not sure what Friday's going to bring, but with him having this DMP status, it's going to be interesting to see how they move with Stingley, how they approach him coming into this Sunday's game. Um, just seeing like they don't want him to injure anything any further or things like that. So we'll see what happens when that happens. So, with that being said, it is time to get to the game preview. So, Texans are going to be facing the Indianapolis Colts at home for the home finale, regular season finale. Um, the final game before the playoffs actually starts for this team next week, and it's a different, way different Colts team that they're facing. So the last time they faced the Colts, it was CJ Stroud's second game coming back. Um, he had he had 276 in that game. Um, there you go. All right, so yeah, he had 276 in that game. One pick, two sacks, all that stuff. But across from him, the Colts were actually fighting for a playoff spot, at the time, and they had, their starting quarterback Daniel Jones, who was dealing with a calf injury coming into that game, and so unfortunately, uh, Jones has suffered an injury. They just season-ending injury for the so he's done for the year. And they had to go to Philip Rivers, bring him back off the couch, and that whole story how that went. And so now the Colts are out of the playoffs, and this was supposed to be one of those games where um, this is supposed to be one of those games where you know, way hyped, big AFC battle, AFC South battle, if you will, for possibly for all the marbles and a whole bunch of other things, a whole bunch of implications, but it's not. The only implications it there is for this game is the Texans need to win it to have a chance to win the AFC South, and if they lose it, then they can forget about it. Um, so with that being said, it's going to be a real, you know, interesting game for a lot of things. So the Texans are not only playing for AFC South crown, but they're also playing for a tune-up before the playoffs start, because they're either going to have to go on the road or they're going to have to be at home. Whether whichever one happens, um, they're going to have to get ready for the playoffs the very next weekend. So here's a couple things I want to see from the Texans in this game in particular. Number one, play until you can't anymore. So play these starters until there's nothing else to really just play for. The Jaguars, they're going to be playing at the same time. Uh, so I'm pretty sure somebody's going to be monitoring that situation. In addition to somebody's going to be looking on a scoreboard in the NRG saying like, "Hey, uh, this is what's going on in this game right now. So what I'm saying, let's chop chop, let's get to it or whatever." So um, just get the starters playing to secure the win, to win this game until you can't no more. The Jaguars are going to be playing the Tennessee Titans. So as much as we would like to dream that the Tennessee Titans are going to upset the Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't think they would do that out of spite to us, number one, and just the fact that they're the Tennessee Titans. And they've been trash all year. So that's that's yeah, it's not looking like the biggest upset of the year is going to happen for the Tennessee to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Um, so just kind of just play it, just play the game, play the starters till you can't anymore. Once the chances to win the division are lost, so once it looks like Jacksonville has the game wrapped up either by a huge margin or you know they're down by a lot, which is unlikely, just go ahead, sit the guys down and get them ready for the playoffs the next week. Number two, practice the small things. So reducing the penalties. Like I said, like I mentioned about the penalties in this Chargers game. Like regardless how I feel about them, it was still like three different penalties that took away sacks that extended the plays for that Chargers offense. So need to work on cutting back on those because just the time of year, a lot of referees they're trying to, this might be their last shot before they, what I'm saying, trying to see if they can get to working the playoffs, the postseason, all the way up into the Super Bowl. So they're probably going to be officiating a little bit more concise, what I'm saying, by the book, more technical. So just kind of, what I'm saying, make sure you're on your P's and Q's and carrots and, make sure you're just out there just reducing, just playing good, disciplined football all, on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. Execution. Execution is going to be really, really key. As I said, this isn't just a game to win a division or, what I'm saying, this is also a game to like tune up, what I'm saying, before the playoffs come. Because, you're not going to be facing the Indianapolis Colts in the wild card, what I'm saying? You're not going to be facing the Tennessee Titans, in the wild card. You're going to be facing, a Chargers team that's going to be a little bit more locked in than what they were when we played them. You know what I'm saying? On top of that, you're going to be facing a Steelers team. And a lot of these teams, you look at them, it ain't really their rosters that's getting them to the playoffs, it's their coaches. So a lot of these coaches, like Mike Tomlin, you know what I'm saying, they've been through it all. You know what I'm saying. They know how to get their teams prepared for the postseason. So definitely want to make sure that you're on top of your game. Stay sharp, stay ready, and you know what I'm saying. Just making sure you're doing what you got to do as far as like executing the X's and O's and giving the effort that you can before the playoffs start. So, I said I was gonna be quick, and that was a lie. Just to recap, really what I want to see in this Texans game, play the starters until you can't play anymore. Uh, once the chances to win the division are lost, or it just seems like it's just out of pocket, just don't sit the starters down. Practice, small things. Reducing penalties. Um, you know, execute the plays. You know what I'm saying? Give all your effort as much as you can. So Texans do that. They should be able to win the game, but they should be able to live another day and be ready for this postseason. So that's all I got for y'all this week and for this regular season. Thank y'all for watching this entire regular season. Hope to see y'all in the postseason as well. Continuing to watch. If you're watching this on Facebook, facebook.com/BrandonBlog. Like my page, like this video, share this video onto your news feeds. If you're watching this on YouTube, like this video, subscribe to my channel, share this video with anybody that you can. So, I'm Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz. Holla black.